Round one, fight!
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, adults, teenagers, adolescents, babies, thank you for tuning in for another exciting Beers of War podcast. Today we are freestyling it. We got 16 hot bars for all three of us. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything, as well as the first official Beers of War holiday. We're getting ready for Beers Week. It's going to take place March 27th through March 31st. And the boys are all here. I have Matilda82 and, of course, Beer Ninja. Wah! Thank you for tuning in. Please, if you see anything you like, if you hear anything you like, or you want to make any comments, please do so in the comment section below. Boys, let's get it.
What is it? My knit hat that I got is made by a friend of my wife's, coworker. She has her own crocheting side gig. It's called It's Not Knit by Tasha. So if you're interested, shoot me a message and I'll send you the email and she can make you this nice, beautiful beer mug crocheted cap.
Love it.
Good stuff.
Excellent.
That's what kind of day or no, what kind of week it's been and everything. So I may be Beer Ninja, but I'm the Sammer Wine tonight. So
Sammer Wine. That's better than Snipper Assassin.
Oh yeah. I guess we're never going to let that one go.
Misty said that's what you're still listed in her phone as, Snipper Assassin.
Snipper.
Awesome.
Snipper Assassin.
I just been
I'm
focused on vacation coming up in a couple weeks. I'm ready to come down and see you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's been too damn long.
Yes, sir.
We've been working on the house, trying to get some stuff done. Stuff needed to get done. Just getting ready. It's long overdue.
You didn't have to go above and beyond for us, Kevin.
2.5 years. That 2.5 years it's been, and it feels so weird.
Yeah, because we were there up until 2020. We were on we were getting to the point of twice a year. We were out there been out there 5 or 6 times. Yeah,
because you came twice in 2019 because you came for con, I think, and then it was 4th of July.
Yeah, because we brought the kids the first time down.
Yeah, and then that next year you came down twice, and because once when we all got COVID, and then the second time when
the first time was when everything was shut down, so we basically homebound, and the second time is when we all got COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Because I still remember we were all worried about whether or not they were going to allow people across state lines at one point.
Oh, that was so crazy. I was listening to about Bomani Jones's podcast, and he said, he was talking to a guy about like education or something like that, and he finally just stops. He goes, "Does anybody just sit back and think that the last 3 years have really kicked our asses?"
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just been one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing. It has been a rough 3 years just for everybody.
It's it's been an eye opener. I mean, because before even that happened, the pandemic and everything, I mean, we were having some pretty bad years as it was and everything. But then when that happened, it's like you thought it just couldn't get any worse, and it did. Yeah. But we're here to talk about it. We're here now. So
one of the things is there was a guy that used to work with me. Guy's into conspiracy theories and stuff, and guy had some mental health issues, but he had some pretty far out stuff, and some even long before COVID was even on the radar. Pretty out there. But about a month and a half before COVID really became prominent here in the United States, he was talking about how they're going to shut down the schools and shut down the economy and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's never going to happen. And it does. And it's the last thing you need to do is give the conspiracy theories, making them right at least once. And because then they don't stop.
I mean, it's insufferable now, isn't he?
I don't know. I stopped talking to him because he was just getting to the point. He was just between not necessarily that, but just some of the other stuff that was going on. And then some stuff I found out recently. So it was probably a good thing we've cut ties with him.
Good.
And apparently a few other coworkers and stuff, even some coworkers have been friends with him for years, that cut ties with him as well. So let's get away from all this BS and let's get back into what we really want to talk about. Video games. Kevin,
yeah.
Hey, how's that game you've been playing? What's it called again? You're playing today on Xbox?
Me?
Yeah.
As Dusk Falls. And yeah, I'm in it. It's almost like, you remember the Choose Your Adventure novels where you turn, it's like, if you want to do this, turn to page 12. If you want to do this, turn to page 16. If you've ever played, Tim, I think you've played Detroit Become Human, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you finish a chapter in that game, it kind of gives you a rundown of the choices that you made and how things could have gone possibly differently. And that's what this game does. It gives you start out, you have choices you have to make and actions you have to make. And like quick time events and swipe this and push that. And at the end of a chapter, it tells you, well, these are the decisions you made, the results that happened. And it's a story-driven narrative from there. But it is a fantastic, so far, I mean, I'm like 4 hours in. And it is a fantastic story, like just bomb story. I'm really, really enjoying it. And that's part of the reason why I was kind of late getting onto the podcast. I was like, well, let me finish this chapter.
Yeah, see,
it's on Game Pass. So
yeah, I got the notification yesterday. It's the first time I seen you log on to Xbox in a while.
Yeah, I hadn't been playing much, and when I did play, it was Age of Empires. It was just, I was trying to find something to play, and so I finally was like, you know what, I'm going to give this As Dusk Falls game a try, and I'm really glad I did. And it kind of gives you almost a psychiatric evaluation. I won't say a psychiatric evaluation, but it kind of tells you, because if you play this to your personality, it will give you things about your personality, kind of feedback. It's like, well, you make decisions quickly, and you're a high moral character, and you really care about your family. Your family's the most important thing. And so I'm really enjoying that aspect of it too. And so if you don't have it on Game Pass, or it is on Game Pass, I'm saying, if you haven't downloaded it, it is a great game to try. It really is enjoyable. Great story.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit of mix of games. I downloaded was it Wolong?
Yeah,
the new kind of like a alternate universe Japanese samurai game, and it's a lot like Dark Souls. It's a Dark Souls game. So
it's hard.
It's pretty difficult because there's like, even in the starting level, I mean, you're starting off at level 1, and I round this corner and I see this creature, and I'm like, oh, cool. I run up on it, and all of a sudden the number 15 pops up above his head, and I'm like, this ain't going to be good. So
it was that moment that Matilda knew.
Graphics overall seems pretty good. I played probably about the first 30 or 40 minutes of it, so I haven't really got too deep into it. I know our friend Riley overseas has played it and really enjoyed it. It's a tough one. I imagine
B.Rock has probably played it too.
Unlike Elden Ring, you can actually adjust the difficulty level. So I even put it on. On some of those games, I just put it on easy so I could just see more of the storyline play out than actually make it a challenge. But I know some people. I ran into a guy a couple of weeks ago who plays games and puts it on the hardest difficulty he can get at the time and plays it through.
I got a 615 credit score. I don't need to make anything more difficult.
So, but yeah, then playing then Game Pass came out since the new Formula One season started. F1 22 has come out on Game Pass, so I started playing that. And then, was there anything else I've been playing lately? Sudden Strike, is that the game? The RTS World War II RTS game that just came out?
Yeah, I think it's Sudden Strike. I saw what you were talking about though.
Yeah, I downloaded that and started a going through the tutorial, so I learned how to play it. So look, it'd be pretty interesting, especially if it stays pretty historical. Unfortunately, when you play the tutorial, you got to play as the Germans invading Poland. So not a big fan of that part, but it is what it is.
I hate to say it, but Sony is going to make me break down and buy this damn VR headset. Did you see the thing I posted? It's like Guitar Hero, but instead of you actually pushing buttons, you move your hand back and forth like you would on a regular guitar. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do. You're going to make me do this.
Then I suggest don't go look at the VR trailer for Gran Turismo.
I already have. I've already watched like 8 videos for it, and there's some guy, and it reminded me of Raleigh because he was just he turns on and he goes, "Oh, this is bonkers! Look. It was like Food Network because he kept going, look at that, look at that, look at that. I don't want to do it.
That accent reminds me of Hulu just came out with Mel Brooks' sequel to History of the World Part 1. Part 2 is now out.
Yeah.
Me and Brendan have been watching it, and we got the last episode finished, and we're done. And with that accent, you remind me of when they were doing the Last Supper, but they were portraying Jesus and the apostles as the Beatles. And Mary Magdalene was basically Yoko Ono.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But there's one episode. I'm saying me and Brendan have still laughed to this day. The Alexander Graham Bell piece that they did. I think that by far is the funniest bit they've done in this part 2. Now he's interested in watching the part 1. Yeah, they broke it down into 4 or 8 half-hour episodes. So,
what was the game?
It's a History of the World part. The game or the
game you're playing, Bigness?
As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls. Okay. I'm looking for it right now.
1 S on that. As Dusk Falls.
Oh.
You type in 2 S's, you might get a different thing.
Let me delete that.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was actually pretty good. I mean, it was kind of the humor. I could tell the humor, the comedy's a lot different because back when he made the first one, the stuff that you used to get by with that you can't do now. So, but yeah, did Mel Brooks do Blazing Saddles?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was him.
Okay. So,
I'm interested in seeing it strictly because I want to see how. I mean, Mel Brooks is like a comedy linchpin, and so it's interesting to see how it has evolved and how he has evolved, and frankly, if he still has his fastball, if he can still get out and still just. But I mean, from what you're telling me, he's still got his stuff. Like he's still funny, even though he's 91 years old.
It's got the modern day twist on, like I said, on some of the humor and some of the aspects of it, but some of the stuff actually works and it's pretty funny. I mean, and the cast they've got in there. I mean, Johnny Knoxville, Seth Rogen, the guy.
Quita Brunson's in that, isn't she? The one from Abbott Elementary.
I know the girl that played Domino in Deadpool 2. She's in it.
Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, so she's in it. I mean, it's quite a big, decent list. I mean, so and it ends up being pretty funny. I mean, because they'll do a few stories. Wanda Sykes in it. She's hilarious.
Yeah, I love her. It's so funny.
And it's just, and then how they make spin on everything. So, but yeah, that's being interesting. If you want to check out something funny and you're good, like the old school humor, go check out History of the World Part 2.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. It's definitely on the list. It's definitely on the list of stuff.
Then, have everybody watched Mandalorian Season 3 yet?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Big time. I'm already caught up.
Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, it's Takeout Mandalorian.
It's Mandalorian, then followed by Masked Singer on Wednesdays in our household.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Bolton was on the last got unmasked in the last episode.
Michael Bolton.
Yes.
How's the hair? Does he still have the hair?
No, it's short and to the skin. He looked like I don't know if it was just he maybe got overheated in the costume under the mask, but when they took the mask off, you could tell he didn't look like he was all 100% there. So I don't know if it was just he was just having issues that day or there's something. He still got the voice, but I don't know if something's going on. And unfortunately, he was up against two pretty tough people in the round too. Even though it was Michael Bolton, he finished last out of the three. So that night,
he had a great voice. He always has had a great voice.
And unfortunately, his was like pretty good. His voice is pretty recognizable.
Oh yeah,
because once Misty said, "Oh, that's Michael Bolton," and he hit a note, and I'm like, "Yep, that's him."
Well, he kind of started off like as a rock star at that point, but then in the I think the late '80s and early '90s, that's when he really started to explode more into a soft rock kind of ballad kind of guy, and that's just where the women just fell for him.
Yeah,
you know?
And the long hair.
And the long hair, yeah, the long hair and everything. You know,
I admit he's got a couple bangers. He's got a couple of solid bangers.
Not gonna lie. I like me some Michael Bolton. I don't care.
They played that once. His one big hit it wasn't the song he played during the show, but when he unmasked, they let him play one of his shows on the way out, and he nailed it. So he still got it vocally, just not moving as well.
I saw, and this was on Daryl Hall from Hall & Oates has these concerts that he just puts on at his house. He's got a house in Pennsylvania, I think, and he puts on concerts. Kenny Loggins was on one of them. And you talk about somebody who hadn't lost a beat. He has still got it. Like, the voice is the absolute same.
Hold up, Kevin. Just for the younger generations, Kenny Loggins, you might know him as the DJ on the rock station on GTA 5. Now you can finish your story.
Wow. We're old.
You didn't know that?
We're so old.
Did you know that, though?
No, I didn't know that was him. Like, I knew Charlie Sheen was a DJ on one of the rock stations. I didn't realize Kenny Loggins was one of the DJs.
Kenny Loggins is the DJ.
And you'll see, like, as singers get older, I know I'm a big fan of the R&B group Maze. They've been making music long as I've been alive. So, 50 years in the game, that's one thing. Frankie Beverly kind of has lost some of his voice. And it's kind of sad to see because, he has got it's a beautiful, smooth voice, but it has deteriorated over time. Kenny Loggins is probably about the same age, and he's still got it.
I think a lot of it, though, is how much people, even as they got older, as if their career kept going or versus slowing down. Everybody still wonders how Keith Richards still kicking.
True. I think he's just pickled. I think he's preserved. He's like the mummy.
Or he got a really good deal with the devil, and the devil hasn't figured out how to collect it yet.
Now, who is that? Who else is it? Ron Isley from the Isley Brothers.
Right.
He's 80 and still got it. He's 80 years old. In fact, he's still touring at 80 years old. And his brother, I think his brother Harold plays guitar, which if you've never actually listened to the Isley Brothers, the guitar work on that is, I wouldn't put it up there with Prince, but as far as a guitar player.
Well, look at some of those blues players, older blues players.
Mm-hmm.
They're 85, 90 years old, can still jam.
Yeah. Yeah, just old, sitting in a wheelchair, just making that guitar backflips.
Even till the great B.B. King passed away, he was still up there jamming away.
Yes. Yeah, now, I grew up on B.B. King. That was my mother would have left my dad in half a heartbeat for B.B. King. And that Jerry Curl that he kept for
I have the same feelings for Selma Hayek. Yeah.
So what are you guys thinking about Mandalorian so far?
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I think you're getting back. I did not watch the Clone Wars, and I should have. I know, not nerd yellow card, but I think tying it back to the lore of Mandalore is really getting its teeth into that, and I'm really excited about that and what that could mean for the rest of the story.
My biggest complaint so far is, are they going to do an episode on how Grogu gets back to Mando?
They did.
They did. What's that?
It's in
Was
the
it-
Book of Boba Fett, though. They put it in the wrong series.
Yeah.
See,
It was,
we didn't, we didn't
was in
finish it because it was just wasn't. We watched 1 or 2 episodes into it and was just like, not
you
very
have to
in it.
watch The Mandalorian season 2.5, aka the Book of Boba Fett, because I think it was the second to the last episode or something like that. I think it was all about him, really, wasn't it? Bigness?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of find out that way how he gets back to him and everything. There's actually kind of a pivotal moment how it happens. So, kind of
Okay.
recommend that you skip a few and go through, and you'll see how it goes. You won't miss anything. So,
Yeah, because like I said, we started watching Book Boba Fett, and it was just like, what are we doing here?
Well, it was a lot like Andor. It took a while for the story to really. I mean, it took the things you were seeing in episode 1 and 2 didn't really make sense until you watched 3, 4, and 5. I mean, I don't know if that's the pattern that Marvel goes by now, or Marvel, Disney, what that huge entertainment conglomerate goes by. But you remember WandaVision? You watch the first 2 episodes, you're like, "What is this? This is I Love Lucy and the Brady Bunch." And then by the time you get to like the 4th episode, it's like, "Oh, this makes sense."
Yeah.
And now it's all, and then everything you saw up to that point made sense. And the same thing with Andor. Just everything made sense by the time you got to the 3rd or 4th episode of that show.
So yeah, I learned this yesterday. Was at helping volunteering at my kids' high school because we were hosting a color guard competition. And I was talking to one of the other band dads. We talked about Mandalorian. And so I guess the guy, Mandalorian, so Pedro Pascal does the voice scene. So if he's not fighting or doing any stunts or anything, it's him under the costume and the mask. Mm-hmm. And if he's doing the martial arts scenes and the melee hand-to-hand combat, he's got a stunt double. Well, when he does the gun scenes, the actor that plays that stunt double is John Wayne's grandson. Yes.
Whoa.
That's cool. That's cool right there.
Yeah, it's John Wayne.
Cool.
It's Brendan. I think he goes by Brendan Wayne. It's John Wayne's grandson. It's one of it off of his daughter. He has another like different name, but he decided to do it. And I guess on the set they were hesitant that he was doing one of the movies. Maybe it was Cowboys and Cowboys and Aliens with Harrison Ford. And I guess he was on the set and he was in the movie, and I guess he's on there, and nobody wanted to bring it up because they figured he's tired of hearing people ask about his grandpa and talk about his grandpa. And he finally sat down with his director and he's like, "My grandpa would have really loved this movie." And he's like, "Well, you brought it up now." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "We didn't want to talk about it because we figured by this point in your life, you don't want to hear about your grandpa anymore." He's like, "No, I love people hearing stories about my grandpa and talk about my grandpa." So
he just doesn't want to live under his shadow. You know?
Yeah.
No, he's using the family name, but still at the same time, he's forging his own past. He still does a lot of the Westerns and stuff like that. So he's been in several of the Western movies that have been made over the last several years. So
I mean, yeah. And it's fitting because the Mandalorian is a space cowboy kind of show, just like what Star Wars originally was actually created for and everything. And I'll give this as far as Andor, because you're kind of seeing like an origin story when it comes to him. Granted, I didn't enjoy it that whole lot until it came to the later episodes and everything. I didn't like the spin where they were going with Boba Fett. Now, don't get me wrong, his origins too. The first time you actually see Boba Fett was it's non-canon now, but it was the Star Wars Christmas special, believe it or not. That's the first time you got to see Boba Fett. So people wanted to know that character more. So when you saw him like in Empire Strikes Back and everything, which, by the way, John Morton is going to be back at the local Comic-Con where we live. And so the guy who actually came up with the name Root Beers of War, he's going to be back. I just saw that show. So anyway, sorry, didn't mean to get off topic there or anything like that. The Book of Boba Fett, man, I watched it. Parts of it was good. Parts of it was like, why are we leading this character into this direction right here? I mean, I know we're talking about something that's already been passed, it's already been done, but I just kind of want to know where the thought process was behind it, because I wanted to see something more along the lines of like a Sons of Anarchy Book of Boba Fett. You know what I mean? You're looking in the life of the bad guy right here, basically. and you're going to see him do like a lot of wild and crazy shit, and that's what I wanted to see.
I think what kind of got away from that, though, it just seems like when he showed up in, was it season 2 of Mandalorian? Yeah. It seemed like he wasn't as rough and tough as cut out. He kind of went a lot milder and versus what we were brought up to him as before.
Mm-hmm.
He is, and I think that's kind of an overarching theme of the show, the Book of Boba Fett, is that, I guess you spend 15 years inside the stomach of a Rancor monster, you kind of
develop
you kind of develop a little bit of self-awareness there.
Yeah.
So he is a little bit milder. He's not vicious. He's vicious when he needs to be. And he very much is. You remember the opening scene of The Mandalorian, him pulling the guy to the door with the tow cable and shutting the door on him and severing him in half. Yeah. Like if Boba Fett needed to do that, he would. But he's a lot more, I guess you could say, judicious with how he dispenses violence.
Yeah, and how much is it Kathleen Kennedy, though, trying to change everything up? Because who was it? Dave Filoni was trying to started a whole thing recently about saying Luke Skywalker wasn't a Jedi.
Slow down there, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, he never finished his training.
That's a topic for another podcast discussion right there, I guess.
I'll have to research. I have to read more into what exactly he was trying to get at. But Yoda did call him a Jedi, though, at the end. He had to go back and fight Vader again. That's how he became a Jedi.
It wasn't
Jedi the last thing he said to him, wasn't it? Or Jedi.
It wasn't the traditional way on how he became the Jedi, obviously, because at that time, the whole order had been dispersed at that point, right? Where everybody was banished at that point. So, the legend kind of still lives on with the whole Jedi thing, but that's a whole different topic, to be honest with you. And I think the canon books would probably explain it more better too, versus where they're going with on TV and everything.
There's a lot of story left to be told. There's a lot of meat on the bone, and I would love to see excuse me, I would love to see one of these series kind of delve into people who are force sensitive but not Sith or Jedi, and how they use those abilities. Almost like I won't, because I've never seen a Harry Potter story, I wouldn't know, but like almost like a Harry Potter type series, like what happens to people who realize they have these abilities but don't know how to utilize them. And then maybe you could use that to kind of delve into how Finn had the force sensitive abilities that he supposedly had, Rey, and maybe even Poe Dameron.
Honestly, I want to say Poe definitely for sure had it, because and I even think Han Solo even had a little bit and just didn't realize it, because how do you become that good of a pilot in space with doing what you're doing, going through asteroids and space fights and everything else, and not get yourself killed?
I won't say it's conspiracy theory or anything, but you actually bring up a pretty good point about Han Solo, because there was actual people who truly believed that he had some kind of force sensitive involved because of the way that he does fly and everything. And that would have been really interesting to kind of explore too in that realm right there, because not everybody has to be a Jedi if you got the force, right?
Right. Because in Rogue One, Donnie Yen's character, the blind guy, he didn't really he wasn't force trained, but I think he still used the force to help him fight and maneuver through the world and stuff.
They certainly believed in it. I'll be honest with you, I love Star Wars. It's always going to be a big part of my life. I'll even say upbringing in some ways, but I kind of want Disney to slow down a little, to be honest with you. There's so much stuff coming out and everything. Now I am going to look forward to Ahsoka, which Rosario Dawson will be at the Dallas Comic-Con and everything. So
make sure Kevin, make sure he buys stock in Kleenexes before it comes out.
Rubber pants, Tim. Rubber pants.
Storage, good stuff.
Okay.
So,
good.
But yeah, so I mean, I am looking forward to that and everything. We really just kind of need to slow down on it and everything. Like, okay, let's explore this character, and we're gonna make a movie out of it, and this and that, or a series or whatever. I think I kind of drew the line where they were talking about Ryan Johnson was going to continue with his new trilogy and stuff like that, and I'm like, nah.
Well, Liam Neeson had the same criticism. He said there's too much Star Wars content out there now.
I kind of agree with him on it, and he wasn't bashing it or anything like that.
It's-
He's just like, you need to throttle down a little here,
They're
Let's soak in.
basically they're taking advantage of the craze that everybody wants Star Wars stuff, and they're just throwing everything out there they can, and they're not making quality. I mean, same thing with Marvel right now. Not every movie Marvel's dropping is good movie. I mean, I've heard some pretty bad reviews for the Ant-Man movie. Has any of you two seen it yet?
No, but I'm gonna watch it though. I mean, for the fact that
I read something today that they said they wasted an acting opportunity with Jonathan Majors. So, if that gives you any idea what could have been.
Well, I think it depends on who writes the next story. It's a lot of what makes a character great is how it's acted. So I hope John. I mean, can Jonathan Majors do it? Obviously, anybody who's watched Lovecraft Country knows that he can put his foot in whatever role he takes. But it's all in how it's written, and there's plenty of meat on the bone with Kang the Conqueror for him to really get his teeth in, and the fact that he is Kang the Conqueror, and there are so many variants of Kang the Conqueror, means that he can be. You basically can rewrite the character however you want to, and it'll fit in one of these holes. I may have used the wrong euphemism for that.
I think we got what you're saying. Holes. Stop saying holes.
Yeah, it's just it's the same thing with like with video games. Everybody's turning video games into movies and TVs right now because we have one success and everybody wants to do it. And granted, it is an untapped genre in terms of adaptations, but not everything's going to be good.
No, and they're banking on your nostalgia to make it better too.
Hands down, I still say that the makers of Mario missed the prime opportunity to drop the movie this past Friday on Mario Day. You should have dropped it
March 10th.
It's only once every 7, 8, 9 years that you get a release date on a Friday, and it worked on Mario Day, and you had to wait till next month to drop it. Come on,
would have been perfect.
You would have been the number one box selling. I mean, I don't think any big movie came out this weekend, did it? Unless it's Scream. Would Scream come out this weekend?
I think so.
I think that's really the only one that's
maybe that could have been why they didn't want to drop it this weekend. But still, you should have claimed that weekend first, and Scream could have came out a different weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that Mario movie ends up being pretty good. Speaking of movies,
I'm gonna watch it. I think it'll be good.
My wife snagged 2 early screenings of the new Dungeons and Dragons movie for next weekend.
What you think? It's next weekend. I'm sorry.
Yeah, next Sunday. So we'll let you know how it is. This will be the second time we've done an early release thing. We went to go see is it Captain Phillips, the one with Tom Hanks as the ship captain.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. Yeah, so we got it. She's all excited. She's a huge Chris Pine fan. I think the movie might actually be pretty decent. The guy who is directing, one of the 2 guys directing it, is real big in the nerd community in terms of what stuff he played. He was on Bones. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
David Boreanaz?
No.
The main star?
No, it's he was in for like 5 or 6 episodes. The one guy, he ends up getting killed in like season 8 or something.
I stopped after a certain point in the series. So.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know.
But yeah, he's directing it, and he also did a movie not too long ago about John Francis Daly. There you go. He actually did a movie about when Star Wars came out, and a bunch of friends wanting to go see the first Star Wars movie. So let me pull that one up. Pull up his IMDb real quick. But yeah, he did that movie. He's got into the whole directing, and he played Lance on Bones, by the way. what was that Star Wars movie he did? He's been doing writing and stuff too. Dungeons and Dragons 5/25/77. There you go. That's the movie, Star Wars movie about the release of the original Star Wars movie. So he's a real big nerd into this stuff. So I think he'd be pretty good at trying to stay close to the source material. So
Let's hope. I mean, it's good to see we're at a point now where nerds are actually making movies about about things that nerds like, and it isn't just they aren't just handing movie scripts to who was it, Uwe Boll, who was making all the bad comic book movies.
Who's that?
Uwe Boll or whatever his name was. He was making all the bad video game movies. He made a Dungeons and Dragons movie with Jason Statham in it. It was just awful.
Really?
Is that the one with-
know they did one in there.
I know they did one with Marlon Wayans in it.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was the same movie or not. But I mean, there was this guy, and he made. I keep forgetting what it. I want to say his name was Uwe Boll or something like that. But he made a bunch of comic book and nerd based movies that were just garbage.
That wasn't stuff based off of his own nostalgia or anything. Like, was he even like into the universe?
He was
the whole
just a movie
thing?
director. He was just like a movie director. He was almost like a European Michael Bay, like explosion porn. It was just okay. Let's make this explode and that explode and this explode and that explode.
Michael Bay when he blows up half of a country just to do one scene for a Transformers movie.
Yep. And
it's a Michael Bay movie when there's one big explosion.
They got to make a name for themselves somehow, right?
Yeah, because I think he one of the Transformer movies, one of the last ones he did was one of the, and I think it's the one with when they were in Egypt with what's that kid's name? They played Witwicky.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, one of those explosions in there, I think, ended up setting a world Guinness record for like the type of explosion it was.
It was the one where they had to get in the pyramid or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dark of the Moon, I think it was.
And they had his parents. No, Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Because remember, Optimus died, and they had his parents and everything. One of those scenes when they did the explosion, it was up there in terms of like the intensity of the explosion.
Movie so bad it makes Shia LaBeouf fall off the deep end.
So you guys been following the whole drama between Xbox and PlayStation lately?
Oh, about Call of Duty or Activision?
About PlayStation fighting the merger and Xbox fighting back and everything else.
I've been in the stands for that one, kind of watching a little bit of the action.
I guess Xbox won some court cases to get some financial information lately.
They want the financial information that PlayStation has, like what PlayStation has to pay developers to make it a PlayStation exclusive. I think that's what the.
Yeah,
I wonder if does that also follow in line like when the PlayStation gets like certain DLCs and downloads when games come out, like it's only exclusive play. Like that's immediately what I thought of when I read the report and everything. I was like, I mean, I don't understand why they want to look at that or anything, but then again, I always have been kind of curious, whatnot, because PlayStation does get a lot of exclusive DLC to games that we don't always get to see on Xbox and everything. So now I have the best of both worlds and everything. So I don't know if I've kind of reached the end of that cycle when it comes to it or not, because a whole lot of games really haven't come out too much. But yeah, I mean, I found that article to be a little bit fascinating as well and whatnot. Not kind of interesting to see where Microsoft's going to go with it. Are they going to be the good guys and just kind of leave it alone? Or are they going to like follow through with it so they can get this whole merge to go through, this whole.
Is Xbox planning on, if they get the merge, they acquire Activision Blizzard, has Xbox officially come out and said they're going to cut PlayStation off completely?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because my thing is, if you spend $60 billion for that company, and then you take 50% of the market share and cut them off from sales, that hurts your bottom line and paying back that reimbursing yourself for that $68 billion.
Yeah.
So I just don't see how financially that'd be a good idea for them to right away cut them off. I know, because it wasn't Starfield, the Bethesda game coming out, isn't it going to be an Xbox exclusive, correct?
Yes. Yes, it's going to be an Xbox exclusive.
I know Bethesda's kind of already hitting towards they're going to go towards Xbox exclusivity on all their games moving forward. But I just don't see PlayStation or Xbox cutting off PlayStation, especially with Call of Duty, because there's just too much free money floating around.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you continue to put out a game, people are going to buy it. As long as it doesn't suck too bad, people will buy it the next year. But yeah, I remember seeing that in the PlayStation. The CEO of PlayStation basically could come out and said that he's more worried. He's more worried about he doesn't want a new COD deal. He wants to stop the merger. Yeah. So he's on the verge of possibly losing COD completely, even if the merger doesn't go through, because of what he's trying to do. Because what's to say when the current contract between PlayStation and Activision Blizzard ends and they got to renegotiate, and now Activision Blizzard's got the upper hand.
They absolutely will, because you have to. I don't know if the Call of Duty. The question around this really to me is the Call of Duty games. Is it a system seller? Does it matter what system you play it on? Like, nobody's ever said, well, I've got to go buy the new PlayStation because it's got Call of Duty. Now, for the longest time, Call of Duty had the exclusive content, or they would have it would always come out first on PlayStation for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Sony's afraid of losing that advantage, the Call of Duty hive. I really, really don't get it anymore.
It's a signature move that they want to keep, I think, in my opinion. Absolutely.
But with like the whole thing with Xbox getting the information on the exclusivity deals and stuff that PlayStation has, I'm afraid that PlayStation's worried that some of the information they got to give over now is going to open up a whole can of worms that PlayStation doesn't want anybody to know about.
Exactly.
Because what's going on behind the scenes that in those deals that PlayStation doesn't want out there.
And from what I read about Microsoft, it's in their hands too, whether they want to use that information or not against it and everything.
Yeah, I think they're just looking to find out what kind of deal that PlayStation has been making with some of these exclusivity rights.
Yeah, because they could probably use it to their advantage too and everything. I mean, at the end of the day, though, I don't see Sony or PlayStation going anywhere for a very long time and whatnot. But this is going to get ugly. I think there's still more to come.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think the next big court case for the whole merger is in August. So the next step in that, I mean, we're still probably 1 or 2 years away because everybody's fighting it.
Well, what's going to end up happening, and I'm afraid to see this happen. I don't want this to happen. Is the next move then is if Microsoft is able to acquire Activision Blizzard, what does Sony do? You have to make a move to acquire another studio that would hurt Microsoft just as badly. The only studio I could think of where that would work is Take-Two. Because if you get Take-Two, you get Rockstar. You get Rockstar, you got GTA. You got the 2K games. 2K baseball, 2K basketball, which is every bit as big as Madden now. 2K golf, which, I mean, I'm a golf fan. But you get Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a massive studio that probably isn't going to cost as much as Activision Blizzard does. But if you can get your hands, if you're Sony and you say, okay, well, this is Microsoft's chess move, here's mine. We got GTA 6 and we're going to be the only people that'll have it for 2 years.
Well, or possibly longer.
And I was just looking at it. Does Sony have $18.65 billion? This is the value this is Take-Two Interactive as of March 10th, 2023 is estimated to be worth $18.65 billion. But if you're going through a sell, you're probably going to go a little bit higher to encourage the sell, because you got to get the stockholders to agree to it, and they're not going to sell at face value.
Right.
So, I know financially PlayStation has been struggling. Do they have that kind of money to throw around? And I think that's what they're worried about, is they know they can't compete against Microsoft in terms of buying up publishers. I know they bought Bungie.
Mm-hmm.
I know they bought Bungie.
2K,
so.
if you buy 2K, if you buy Take-Two Studios, you make that money back. You absolutely positively make that money back. You think about how much money GTA 5 has made in the last now 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
You're not talking billion. I mean, we're talking a scale that's 2-3 times the size of maybe an Avatar movie. And because Sony has a movie studio, you now have the rights for Red Dead Redemption movie, GTA movie, Borderlands movie. Those 3 movies alone, you're talking about $1 billion in IP.
Well, we already got a Borderlands movie coming, believe it or not. It's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Hart's in it, Jack Black. Who's the chick that was in the Thor movie? That was Thor's sister. She's in that. And one of my crushes is going to be in there, and she's going to play Mad Moxie.
Who's that?
Gina Gershon. Oh yeah. So that movie's coming about, but no, I agree with you, Kevin, because that can actually balance the scales right there. Of course, we're just
balancing.
I mean, granted, this is just based off of our opinions and everything like that, but just outside looking in, that really kind of hits the hammer on the nail right there, right on the head and everything. So, I mean, that could happen next because I don't know how much Microsoft has in money wise or anything like that, but that would be a pretty solid move for Sony to do and everything. But like I said, I don't see Sony leaving anytime soon, especially with the PlayStation and everything. So I think, like I said, it's going to come up. Something's going to happen.
Now, the thing I noticed when I watched the Uncharted movie, I'm sorry, Brandon, if I cut you off, I apologize.
I'm just looking up some numbers.
The thing I noticed when I watched the Uncharted movie is I think that the one of the opening screens, like, Universal, blah 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 blah. One of them was like PlayStation Studios, and you saw Uncharted, you saw Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think you saw Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. You saw and The Last of Us. You saw The Last of Us too. And I mean, those three properties would be monster cinematic release. I mean, The Last of Us has been huge, the biggest cinematic IP release in the last 12 months, easily. But you also have, like, if anybody remembers the Resistance Fall of Man series, that was a great that was a good series for video games. Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. There are some stories that can get to cinema with Sony PlayStation Studios. I mean, hell, even a Crash Bandicoot animated series. There's a lot of meat on that bone for the whole of Sony to really chew from and to monetize if they really wanted to do it.
So you were talking about GTA, and since its release in 2013, they estimate that GTA has made $7.7 billion in 10 years.
Lord.
But
Good
they said
Lord.
most of that has come from the pandemic because people locked inside their houses needed something to do. And then we're talking about like Microsoft and PlayStation. Well, Microsoft's company value is worth over $2 trillion. PlayStation is worth $108.3 billion. So
Sony or PlayStation?
Sony.
PlayStation. So okay, Sony's yeah.
So Microsoft is 20 times more valuable than PlayStation. So I think that's why they're fighting the merger, is because they know they can't go out and go buy studios. They can't go buy. They can't afford to go buy Take-Two.
Yeah, they
that's
could.
That's 20% of their company value.
And it would be worth every penny. It would be worth every penny.
Because the thing is, though, when they put it up if they go up to it, then the bid they have to open up the bid to somebody else, and Xbox Microsoft come in and say, "We'll give you double your share price."
Well, video games also becomes more like it's just like when the pandemic happened and everything, or the recession, even for that matter. What stayed in business the most? Alcohol was definitely one of them, right? Video games was too. There you go. I'm saying video games was too, and everything. It ain't ever going away. I mean, as far as that goes. And it was actually thriving, like you said, when it came to the, pandemic and everything. Rocksteady, you know what? A win's a win for them. That, to me, that's what I see. It's a win's a win. They did right. They actually made good quality content, story. I mean, GTA 5 kept pushing out all this content, and it was free. It was free, and
Because
people would play it.
They knew people on the back end. People still buy the game, and then people are still buying the shark cards because of the vehicles, and they keep adding new vehicles, and people want them. And if you want to get a good one for a mission, I mean, it's got the same, in a way, it's the same concept as World of Tanks. You can grind out in game to save up the money to go buy this vehicle or that tank or that aircraft, or you just go drop $20, get your shark card, and go buy the game yourself.
Right.
When you got people willing to go spend that kind of money, you're going to keep staying business.
And if you've ever played 2K, that is the exact same model for their My Player. You can grind it out and get your player better, or you can pay for whatever the VC is, and you can make your player instantly better. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the concept that the gaming company Wargaming, makers of World of Tank, World of Aircraft, World of Warships, is the free-to-play, but you also got the microtransaction aspect of it, but you don't have to go do the microtransactions. You can still grind it out to get the same quality of stuff. It's just how long you want to put effort in there. Yeah. And most people are short attention span. They want stuff now, and they're willing to pay that money. Me, on the other hand, when I play World of War Tanks or World of Warships, I don't go spend money on it. I just grind it out.
Yeah.
Because they offer free premiums for 7 days here and there throughout the year. And when anniversaries come up and events come up, you get perks, kickbacks from it. They give you for free. And GTA is kind of done the same thing. You bought the initial game. Every so often, they roll out new content, new missions. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there a rumor the map expansion coming out eventually?
I've heard that.
I've heard it too. I think it was like San Andreas or something, possibly. I mean, there's this rumor. I don't know. I haven't read all of them yet. I mean, I just kind of see as I scroll through and everything. But I mean, that would be great if they added on to that. And some people were kind of getting upset about that. Like, we want more about GTA 6 and this and that. You know what? Take your time, GTA 6, because I want a polished game. I want a good game. I want something that's going to roll out. Because most of these big games that come out like that and everything, always something happens. Like that first day it's rolled out and everything. Either the servers crash or something happens in the game. They got to put out a patch immediately. Take your time. I don't mind. I still enjoy GTA 5 to this day. I will play it to this day.
The sheer genius of what Rockstar is doing and 2K is doing versus what EA did with the whole Loot Crate thing is you are allowed as the player, as the purchaser, the consumer, to design what it is that you spend your whatever credits on. Whereas EA, when they decided to do the whole microtransactions thing with Battlefront, it was just the opportunity. You were buying a chance to win something, which then made it illegal because then it qualifies as gambling. And if EA had adopted a similar structure where if you play this long, you get Yoda. If you play this long, you get Kylo Ren. If you play this long, you get Vader. Or you can buy the credits to achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have saved themselves untold millions of dollars and probably made a whole bunch of money if they had just adopted that same model when Battlefront came out. Like, hey, if you want to advance to this level and play as Darth Vader, you can. You just have to pay a little bit extra.
And it was a little too late for them now at that point, too, because they tried to throttle down on that and everything. And, well, I don't hear anybody ever talk about Battlefront 2 anymore. It was a good game.
They abandoned it. They were just like, okay, we're done. We're done with it, which I think is garbage because really the last two Battlefield games have not been worth playing.
Well, I mean, they're kind of their own worst enemy, too, in a way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like EA games. I'm not going to lie. I mean, hands down, there's some really good EA games that are out there. But, like, let's take Anthem, for example. So much potential. So much potential. And don't get me wrong. I still enjoy playing. I love the mechanics of it. You know, you're in this Iron Man suit, you're flying around, you get to do all this stuff. The only problem I had with it, it wasn't really the storyline. It was short. There was not a whole lot of content for it, and it was just too late to try to build on it. And this took them, I want to say it took them like 7 years to try to get this thing rolled out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is what we had. This is what we had. And this is when, you know, the generation was taking a step up in consoles and everything, you know, going from the 360 and everything. So it's like I really loved the idea and the concept of Anthem and everything. And I have it in my collection. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't care. I have it. I enjoyed it when I first played it, but after that, it just kind of dropped off. I just fell off at that. There's nothing really much else for me to do. The only time I'll ever enjoy playing that game is if I'm with a group of friends and we're just doing a couple of missions just to kill time or something like that. Other than that, yeah, like they take these anticipated games right there that people were really looking forward to and everything, and they want to try to milk every penny they can out of you. Let's build on the experience and everything. We'll follow you, you know?
Yeah, they overhype these games with these non-gameplay trailers,
right?
Where they show the storyline. It makes it like, oh my god, I want to play this, and then by the time they put that disclaimer, not actual gameplay. Then by the time you start seeing trailers and you start hearing stuff and some of the people pre-playing it, you're like, this is not what I was expecting. And they overhyped it, and it backfired on them.
Oh, you're right.
EA has lost the FIFA license, haven't they? Isn't there supposed to be another company that's putting out the FIFA game next year?
I think they're still allowed to, but they just can't call it FIFA anymore.
They were also kind of circling back to Star Wars with Jedi Survivor coming out. Jedi Survivor? Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. They were talking about wanting to make it a trilogy and everything, but I don't know if they'll even have that opportunity to do so because somebody else bought out or is in line next. It's Ubisoft. Yeah, they're in line now.
Ubisoft did not buy the whole license. They have the ability to make the games. They just took the exclusivity away from EA.
Okay.
So EA can make the third Jedi game, I believe.
Well, that's good then, because I kind of want to see where the story of Cal Kestis, because that's just it. It almost like they kicked themselves in their own fucking balls because they were talking about, you know, single player campaigns are just a dead genre and everything, and yet you made this phenomenal fucking masterpiece. Don't get me wrong, it had a little Souls game to it and everything, but still, it was a great story. And you're gonna say something like that? No, man.
What did they do to themselves?
If I can put their own damn foot in their mouth, that's what they did, because single player campaigns are still relevant, are still valid, and they make great stories. They really do. They really do.
To answer your question about EA and FIFA, EA loses $20 billion franchise because they could not come up with a licensing agreement with the football governing body FIFA. And
wow.
So they lost out. So they're going to rebrand. They can't call it FIFA anymore. It's going to be EA Sports FC. My question is, does the name change hurt? Because FIFA is probably one of the top 10 selling games worldwide every year.
Oh, absolutely.
Because outside of the United States, soccer/football is extremely popular.
So are you saying they had a football game and had a soccer game, and it never took off the way FIFA did?
Yeah, there's one called PES.
Yeah, Pro Evolution Soccer.
Yeah.
So are you saying they're banking off the name FIFA is not going to take off as well because they're changing it, or is it because of the game itself? Is it really the household name that they're worried about, or what?
I just think by changing the name, you're going to lose people because everybody's going to look at it and think it's not FIFA anymore.
Yeah. Well, you look at I mean, Madden. People buy Madden because they don't have a choice. If you're going to play a pro football game, you're going to play NFL game, it's got to be Madden. Yeah. That license on that exclusivity is expiring soon. 2K has the ability to make an arcade style football game, which they are going to make next year. They don't have a basketball game. 2K ran them out of 2K threw them out of the paint. They really did. They knocked them out of the paint. Now they're losing. They don't have a baseball game either. And they're losing their biggest seller, or they're losing the license to the biggest seller, FIFA. I mean, you also lose UEFA Champions League, don't you? Because isn't that a FIFA sports sponsored event?
FIFA is the governing body of all soccer on the international level.
So it's going to look
I don't know
like...
how far. I don't know how far down, like into like club level stuff, but I know on the international level, so all the international teams or the national teams are all regulated by FIFA.
Wow. That's a huge loss. So,
I mean,
yeah.
You think some of our NFL teams here in the United States, because that's if you take just the NFL team, they're usually, and maybe a few NBA and a few others, but most valuable franchises in terms of how they cost. Some of these soccer clubs across the world are just as close, if not slightly higher, than some of these NFL and NBA teams and MLB teams here. Manchester United, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I mean, you're talking close to $10 billion valuation on these clubs. And EA wanted to fight with FIFA and lost out the naming rights. So
that being said, the most valuable sports franchise in the entire world is one that hasn't won a championship in 30 years, but it's still these guys.
Or been to the Super Bowl.
I think they're at 10 billion or something like that now.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. This is Forbes list of 2022. Let's see if I can find the actual list. Okay. Kevin, I think you're right. Cowboys are $8 billion. Oh, these are NFL teams. So, yeah, nope, that's all of them.
All of them.
Looks like I'm not seeing Premier League team. Oh, they are, because Real Madrid is at 5.1. So, Barcelona at 5. So, yeah, Eagles, Manchester United, 4.6 billion. So, yep. And that's just but a lot of that goes to is what makes Dallas partly most valuable like that is because Jerry Jones owns everything. He owns the stadium, and that's a lot of this revenue right there.
Exactly. It's a ton of revenue.
Where most other stadiums are technically owned by the cities or the states they're in, and they're leased out to those teams.
Or partially owned, like municipally owned or something like that. Like they have an arrangement. Jerry built that sucker himself with his own money, and I mean you got to hand it to him. I'm not the biggest fan of stretchy face, but the man knows how to make money, and having been in that stadium a couple times, it's gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous stadium.
Unfortunately, I kind of agree with you on my end with Manchester United being owned by the Glazers. The same family owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
They care about making money instead of putting a good quality product on the field.
Exactly.
Stupid, greedy corporations. Sorry, it's wine talking.
It's okay.
But they may be stupid, greedy corporations, but we still keep coming back to them every year.
That's right. We come back for that whooping.
So.
Oh, man.
Yep. So less than 2 weeks ago till Beers Week 2023, guys. You guys stoked?
I'm super stoked.
I'm ready to do the live in-person podcast between the three of us.
I'm ready to call in sick from work.
Which reminds me, that is something actually I wanted to talk about.
Uh-oh.
I want to start a trend, a hashtag, if you will.
By the way, if my boss
because
is watching
not everybody
this,
is a member of it. And I'm announcing this first, so this is a Beers of War podcast exclusive. I am starting a hashtag because not everyone who watches this is a member of the Beers of War. Not everyone who will see this on Facebook is a member of the Beers of War. But because we are gathering together and enjoying each other's company and gonna have the week of our lives and the time of our lives, I would like each of you, if you are watching this and you're not a member of Beers of War, to participate in something I'm calling On Monday. Monday, March the 27th will be the first official day of Beers Week. And I want to remind each and every one of you, because it is Sunday today, every Monday that you participate in, you do so voluntarily. You don't have to go to work on Monday. You don't have to put up with all that nonsense on Monday. You don't have to go to bed early and not have a drink or 2 or 3 or 7 on a Sunday night because you've got to go to work on Monday. So what if we decided to take one Monday of the year and un-Monday it? So
That's
if
like
you are not
every
a member
Monday.
of the Beers of War and you decide that you want to engage in this un-Monday, please do so with the hashtag un-Monday. There will be an announcement on our Beers of War page, as well as an announcement on my personal Facebook page, as well as probably a YouTube video, a separate YouTube video describing un-Monday and the rules of Monday, because there are rules. And we're all going to hopefully, if you can't enjoy Beers Week in person with us, you can enjoy a little bit of Beers Week by un-Mondaying on Monday, March the 27th.
I like it.
I like
It's
that,
good
Kevin.
Yeah.
Even though
That's
I
on
am
Monday.
on Monday almost every Monday of the month. Every
So
day
is
I work.
Sunday considered un-Monday Eve? Can we call it that?
Well, the thing is, you can un-Sunday if you choose to do so. That means that you don't have to worry about the laundry being done or the dishes being done or the kids, or your kids' lunch is being packed, yeah, because they got to go to school. But
I mean, that's
you
pretty much
don't have to worry
mix-up.
about you don't have to worry about all of the things that you have to do on a Sunday, and most and most of all, you don't have to look at the clock at 6 o'clock on Sunday and go, oh, it's almost Monday, because it won't be Monday. It will be un-Monday. So it will be a Monday that you look forward to.
Yeah, it's funny with my work. It's like they start our weekend call coverage at noon on Fridays so we can get off early on Fridays. But I usually work a full day on Friday because I don't like getting up early and doing a full day on Monday.
And boys, this will be the first official Beers of War holiday.
March 27th.
March 27th. It is on Monday.
All right.
So fellas,
Cool.
pour them up.
I got mine.
What do you go? I'm going with the spicy tamarind vodka today.
I got my Crown Peach bottle that I keep right next to my
Going with
podcast.
a little Merlot.
The control
right
room.
From the control room, from the library, and from
Library.
headquarters. If you drink,
there.
may you drink with me.
me. Oh,
Wow.
good stuff.
Good stuff.